Bear down, Chicago Bears fans. The problem, if you will, is over. Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze have both signed in the last possible second for their rookie contracts, if you will. So here we are, ready to go. We've got cap. We're top 10 cap now, by the way. So it's going to be a lot that the Bears are going to have to work on here. So as of today, they are over the cap at minus 21 million. So, going to be a very difficult time to hire or bring in anybody. In the top 51 players, they're at 12 million market cap remaining, but we'll see how this plays out over the next little while. But the good news is we finally have our guys signed. So if you like this type of content, make sure that you hit the like button and the subscribe button, bell to be notified if you want to. We're doing this every day or most every day. When we have news, we're going to come to you with the news. But number one, Caleb Williams has signed his rookie contract and 4 years, $39 million contract. And this one, there doesn't seem to be anything in here that seems like it doesn't really resonate with me why it took so long, considering his lack of an agent. Finalizing deals with him was a little bit more lengthy process. He has his team working for him rather than an agent, making longer negotiations processes to be expected. But what he got was a 4-year deal, 39.49 million, fully guaranteed, with a 25.5 million signing bonus. That was and by the way, that's about 9 million towards the salary cap. So nothing special, nothing that stood out. A lot of people were speculating that maybe he was holding out for a better deal. Maybe he was going to try to reset the system, if you will, for rookie contracts, et cetera, et cetera. At no point during the OTAs or mini camp did it seem like he was on the outs with the team in any way. So it seems like it was almost ordained, if you will, that he was going to sign the contract. So the question would be, what was delaying everything? And we don't know what was delaying it, just that the team taking a while to make it happen. But everything worked out exactly as you would expect. Maybe the signing bonus was a little bit more or a little bit less. I don't know. It seems like at what was it again? 9.2, I want to say, or 9.4 million is the average per year. And it does, of course, have a 5th-year team option, as is standard for all of these contracts. 25.4 or 25.5 signing bonus, meaning 14 million spread up over 4 years, so 3.5 million. But of course, 9.4 counts towards the salary cap. Not to be outdone, Rome Odunze also signed his contract as well, which we certainly wanted to get this guy into the fold as quickly as possible. Now, he signed a 4-year, 22.7 million fully guaranteed contract and is ready to go. So, and not at strip clubs like Malik Neighbors. So, and by the way, I was one of the first people here saying that, I would prefer Malik Neighbors or Marvin Harrison over Rome Odunze. Once I saw the behavior of Malik Neighbors, I really kind of took that all back. Like, man, it's it's not the product on the field all of the time that makes the big deal or the big difference for teams. That's not always it. It's your behavior when you think nobody's looking. What does it look like? Who are you when nobody's watching? And who's Rome Odunze when nobody's watching? He's the guy on the practice field, practicing to get better constantly. He's the guy going to sleep at night early. He's the one getting ready because he wants to be a career-defining player. Somebody else hanging out at a strip club, tossing dollars around because it makes you cool. Some people are just built different. And who do I want on my team? I would prefer to have the guy who's going to study and work hard if he's talented, as opposed to the guy who is similarly talented, who's spending his time not focused on what I would feel that he should be focused on. I don't like what I saw from Malik Neighbors from that video. I don't know how you feel. Let me know how you feel in the comment section, if you will. But let's move on. We want to keep this kind of quick for the day. Now, here's the space remaining. So let's talk about it right here. With the deal finalized, major pieces right now, 53 mark. The Bears currently have around 12.3 million in cap space, according to SpotRac's metric. That gives them the 20th most cap space in the NFL. That's a stark contrast from the days the Bears had earth-shattering amounts of money in the form of $100 million last offseason. It meant the Bears are finally shaping up to be a competitive team with the addition of Williams and Odunze. They to complete an offense also highlighted by DJ Moore and Keenan Allen, DeAndre Swift. Now, here's the thing: when you get to the roster, when you make your cuts, that's when you're going to have $12 million. So there is certainly an opportunity here. That does mean you have to make cuts because you have a 99-man roster right now. As it stands, Williams 7.1 cap hit. Okay, so it's 7.1 million cap hit from his 4-year, $39 million deal. Stands as the 10th largest cap hit on the Bears, and Odunze's is 4.1 million. So it leaves a little bit of room. It's unlikely the Bears will be active as rookies report to Bears training camp on Tuesday. Veterans report Friday, and practice starts Saturday. This is the time when the Bears start gelling and molding together. Now, the question at this space: you have $12 million left when you make your roster cuts, when it gets to time for the market. So you are over by 21 million, but again, you have to make some cuts. But who knows, will they address the weak spot they have across from Montez Sweat on the opposite edge? Well, now there's $12 million to do it with. Now that gives you Yannick Ngakoue, that gives you Emmanuel Ogbah money, but it doesn't give you money in case there's an emergency during the season. So the Bears are going to have to be very, very careful with what they do, particularly on the scout team. Make sure that scout team is ready at a moment's notice. So, but I do think that the Bears are in a much better place or in a much better space than they've been for a little while. So very nice to see. We've got a little cap space right now. We got a little opportunity to make some stuff happen. Remember last year, however, here's the thing. Last year, the Bears carried $10 million because Ryan Poles wants to carry $10 million into the season, just in case of something catastrophic that might happen and the need to reach out and grab somebody. Well, they have 12 million right now. So if you consider that, then it might be that Yannick Ngakoue over Emmanuel Ogbah becomes the thing, because I think Yannick Ngakoue probably would take a $2 million veteran minimum type contract for the Chicago Bears to on a 1-year deal or something like that, to kind of see how things go, or the lay of the land, if you will. So interesting to see how it plays out. If I had my choice here, I would, because I'm one of those guys, like Yannick Ngakoue didn't have the season that we expected him to have, and now I just really want him to run it back. I want him to see, I want to see what he can do. And to be fair, I don't know that that's a good or bad or indifferent move. It's my opinion about what I think the Bears should do. Yannick Ngakoue being that guy. I want him to run it back. I want to get those 9. I want to get the 10 sacks. I want to get all the sacks that this guy owes us from last year. That's what I really want to see. So, if it happens, fantastic. If it doesn't, I'm still good with, no matter what happens here. I'm a Bears fan, so what matters to me is what the Bears do. And can we continue to build, and can we continue to improve? And it is my firm belief that we are on that right path. So let's move on from there and talk about J.B. Pritzker, because J.B. Pritzker privately met with Kevin Warren. And the conversation was not disclosed. However, one piece of that conversation was mentioned, and that was that nothing has fundamentally changed about what J.B. Pritzker thinks about what is really being asked of him about $2 million in community and public funding. It seems like it's a non-starter at that point. Now, they did make a comment. The governor's office confirmed the meeting to the Chicago Tribune, telling the newspapers the meeting was cordial and was intended to get to know each other, because he is the governor. He meets with small businesses, and Kevin Warren runs one of the biggest small businesses in all of the state. So, but he said that the position has not changed. Pritzker said that the $5 billion stadium, there's no way with the Bears putting up maybe half of it, something like that. When Bears and executive Karen Murphy met with Pritzker's staff, In May, the governor's office issued a statement characterizing the team's plan as a non-starter. That attitude leaked into June when the state crafted a $53 billion budget, not including the Bears Stadium plan. The plan includes hundreds of millions promised to elementary and secondary education, public schools across the state, migrant relief, medical debt, and tax write-off for special circumstances, but nothing for the Chicago Bears. It's important to note that the Bears did not ask for a bill or legislation to be passed during the session. However, during the Bears Stadium proposal presentation in late April, Warren was hoping to get something done as quickly as possible. Now, if he wants to do something as quickly as possible, then his only avenue is most likely Arlington Heights, because it does not look like there is a thirst at this point for for any big time deals here. So, maybe, just maybe, there's nothing that we can do, and Arlington becomes the prohibitive favorite from that point. I don't think I've ever been disappointed in anything. I understand these are big projects, and this is Kevin Warren responding to asking if he was disappointed with what happened. They take time, energy, and effort to come together. They're expensive. You have to have foresight. You have to have vision, and you have to have wisdom, was the statement coming from him. I understand this is part of the process. I strongly believe we need a new stadium. For Chicago to have never hosted a Super Bowl, a Final Four, a college football playoff, these mega events, we are losing out. Was Warren surprised by the legislative pushback? No. Interestingly enough, and this is a quote from him, interestingly enough, every jurisdiction has its own way of doing business. This is exactly what I expected to do. This is an election year. We have people who don't have meals to eat. We have people sleeping on the streets. We have a lot of complex issues that our government has to deal with. I'm a realist to understand that these projects are not something that you do over a weekend. Murphy said that the April presentation that the team expects the entire stadium project to cost $4.7 billion, $3.2 billion for the stadium, and just over $300 million for infrastructure, then $1.2 billion for two other phases of development. In March, the team confirmed it would contribute $2 billion to fund the majority of the project. A slide from the presentation clarified the number would be closer to $2.025 billion. And after that, the team would look at the NFL stadium program for a $300 million loan. That would leave a $900 million gap for public financing. The Bears plan to make plan has them looking to a bond mechanism with the Illinois Sports Facility Authority program to make up the difference. The Bears said a 2% hotel tax that is already in place for the ISFA should be able to make up this $900 million they need from public funds. Now, that is here's the problem with that. And this has been something that's been said publicly, repeatedly, over and over again, is that in analysis of that 2% tax, the people who are coming to the Chicago Bears games are not from out of town. They're not staying in the hotels. There's no upside. There's no benefit to that. So that does not seem to meet any sort of requirement from anyone in the government, especially the people who are looking and using data and crunching numbers and trying to figure out whatever that path is, whatever that path looks like. They're not seeing a clear way to justify this type of money because the 2% hotel tax isn't being generated by the Chicago Bears anyway. It's just being done from everybody who comes here on vacation. Now, the Bears are going to say, and the argument for is going to be, first of all, that hotel tax would also include people coming for any kind of playoffs, any kind of Super Bowl, any of these other things that would fill up hotels around the area, which would now be available to the Chicago Bears and to the Chicago fans with a bigger and quote unquote better stadium. So we'll see whether or not this deal gets done. Arlington Heights still looking like the favorite, though, at this point. If the team gets the public funding needed to open the stadium, they said there will be two more phases of development requiring public money. One, to maximize infrastructure for the stadium and surrounding campuses totaling $510 million, and another phase for optional infrastructure to enhance the campus, improve circulation, and maximize public economic benefits totaling $665 million. Basically, what they're saying is, if you give us one extra $1 billion, then all the businesses around here are going to be better. Eh, you know, it would look prettier, but I'm not sure it would be better. So that's 2.4 billion. Brandon Johnson, mayor of Chicago, he was all aboard without, as long as it didn't raise taxes on citizens, he was all aboard on this. But with the government and JB Pritzker saying no, then we're kind of left in limbo at this point. So if anything changes, then you guys will be the first to know. But moving on, Hard Knocks New York. The pre-interesting thing here. One of the most notable free agents in the NFL recently was Saquon Barkley. On the second episode of HBO's Hard Knocks, they revealed that Joe Schoen conversation with Barkley and his agent Ed Barry of the GM, informing him they would let the running back test the market. The Giants were curious to know how much another team would be willing to pay their running back. And according to a text Schoen received during the process, the Bears had a hand in raising the stakes. Just got a text that Chicago is driving the price up and that Philly is out. I don't know if that's true or not. I'll make a couple calls. I don't know if that's going to happen. The second part of the text obviously was not true. Philadelphia ultimately landed Barkley, signing him to a 3-year deal worth $37 million. With that contract, Barkley put himself in the top 5 highest paid running backs in the league. So it seems like we're about $4 million a year or $5 million a year away from signing Saquon Barkley. It looks like if we were interested, then then everything might have been kind of in place for that sort of move. Whether it happens or not, I mean, obviously it didn't happen, but it looks like the Bears settling for a 3-year, $24 million deal instead of a 3-year. I mean, what is that? What's the difference? About $4 million more a year, $4.5 million more a year. So, and by the way, we had that money. We have that money. So it would have been interesting to see Saquon Barkley here, but I do like the fact that we took DeAndre Swift. In fact, to me, that seems on the surface for me, no offense to Saquon Barkley. I'm sure he's a fantastic athlete. I've seen him on the field. I know that he's a great running back. I was not a fan of his coming out of college, by the way. I think that he was a good running back. Wasn't sure that he was ever going to be a great running back. And I think that he's, probably proved me as a doubter wrong at this point, but he's also, I think, been a little bit injury prone. So, my opinion. So maybe, just maybe, this could have been a good deal. But we were very close, apparently, to signing Saquon Barkley to that contract. Now, let's talk real quick about what the market's going to look like overall. So number one is Montez Sweat, 25 million, Keenan Allen, 23 million, Tremaine Edwards, 22 million. Going down the line here, number 10, Caleb Williams at 7.179. Dead cap space, because he just signed the contract, of course, is going to be kind of high. And it's at right now, $39 million. So very difficult to move on. There's no places right now to free up any space, by the way, for anybody who's looking at the roster. There just really is nowhere financially for the Chicago Bears. And guys, I keep looking at this over and over again, and I want to find that one spot, if you will, where we could make a move. And I keep looking at this chart day in and day out, like, how do we make how do we do anything at this point? Andrew Billings, surprisingly, about the only person. Ryan Bates, the only person. Maybe Coleman Shelton, Larry Borum. That's it. But you have to, and those are that's your entire offensive line. So there's no money here other than this 12 million. So no matter what happens next, there's going to be some interesting times trying to fill out this roster in the best possible way. So with that, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you. Make sure you hit the like button on your way out. I think that, between all of this stuff, we're going to start on Saturday, I want to say. We're going to be seeing what this team can do. And look, I think what they can do is going to be phenomenal. 13-4. I'm still telling you, I'm still predicting it. I think the Bears are going to be fantastic. But that's a conversation for another time. So until then, bear down, fuck Green Bay,